Hi there. This is our 10th video of this course. And in our previous video, we have seen how we can use slots and scope slots in our Vue.js app. We have also used slots and scope slots for creating the card component in our Vue.js app. Now, in this video, we'll be looking into state management in Vue.js. Before learning about state management, let's just understand what state is. State refers to the data and variable that determines the current condition or representation of your application. State is what makes your application dynamic and responsive. Now there are multiple ways of managing the state in Vue.js. Like we can manage the state with local component state, which is by defining the state in your data method, or we can use props, emitters for managing the state between parent and the component. And there is a third way, which is using the centralized state management like Vuex. We will not be looking into Vuex currently because that is something which we will cover later on. But currently, we'll cover all the topics that we have seen so far for creating an application that will help us to manage the state. So let's just go to our code editor. Now this is our Vue app. And over here, if you can see, we have used props, emitters, and slots so far for managing the state between parent and child components. Now what we'll do, we'll create a counter app that we have created before also. But this time, we will be dividing it into different components and we'll be managing the state in between these components with the help of props and emitters. In that way, we'll be able to use all these things together and we'll learn about how to manage the state locally without help of any external resource in Vue itself. So for doing that, what I'll do, I'll first remove all of this from the template. And after this, I'll remove all the imports. I'll remove all the components from here. And I'll just store a single value count, which is 0 for now over here. And after this, I'll be creating two components. First one would be a count.view, which will show us the current count. And second one would be the button, which will help us in creating the buttons for our app. These buttons will help us to increment or decrement the counter. So we'll start with count. I'll create a template over here. And after template, I'll be creating a script. Now inside the script, I'll put the name for the component, which is count. And after putting the name, I'll be defining props over here, which would be an array. And inside the array, I'll pass this count. And now I'll be using mustache syntax for using the value of this count over here. Now after doing this, I'll go to my root component. And over here, I will import my count. And then I'll expose this count to my template via these components. And over here, what I'll do, I'll put the count like this, and then I'll exposing this count. So for doing that, I'll do something like this. And obviously we need to use the directive. So we'll do it like this, which is a short form for vbind directive. Now if we save it, we'll be able to see 0 in our browser. That's great. Now we'll be working on our button component. So in button component, what we will do, we'll again create a template first. And after creating a template, we'll create the script and we'll give it a name. And obviously we'll be calling it button. And in this button, what we need to do, we need to define an emitter. And inside emits, we'll be sending the event and I'll call it, I think I'll call it change count. Now this change count, we'll be using it like this, that we'll be having button over here. And this button would definitely be using some props. So we'll be having props over here also. And these props would be, so there would be two props. First one is the count and second one would be name. So we'll be using name over here to put the name of the button, and we'll be using the value of count whenever we are emitting the event. So how we can emit the event? Well, we can emit the event like this. So we can put @ click over here, and after that we'll put the name of the event, which is change count. So we'll put emit first, and then inside that emit we can put change count. So whenever something like this happens, we'll be calling the change count. Now after this, what we need to do, we'll be saving it. Actually, we don't need count over here, but let's just keep it for now. Now we'll be using this button in our root component. And for doing that, again, we'll be having an import. And after importing, we'll import button. And now this button will be exposing it to our template by putting it over here. And over here, what we'll do, we'll be using this, and we'll be passing the name to it, which would be add. And we'll be having a second button also, which will have the name as subtract. Now we'll be saving this. Okay, we got an issue over here. Element is missing end tag. We need to close this also. So once we save this, yes, everything is fine now, and we are able to see our buttons also. And just to remove the buttons to be like this, I'll be putting an HR tag over here. And yes, actually we can put a break tag instead of HR tag. So we'll be putting a break tag, and you can see the counter is like this. Now what we need to do, we need to put our events over here. So @, we'll put the name of the event, which is change count. And now what this change count will do, it will be like this, that if the value is this, it will be taking the value of count plus equal to 1 for addition. And whenever the sub is called and this event gets triggered, it will do it minus. Now, if we save this and go to our browser, we'll be able to see that our counter application is working, and we are managing the state between these three components: app, count, and button. And this is how we can manage the state locally with our components. Now, in our next video, we'll see how we can manage the state in a centralized way by using the Vuex. Hope you have liked the video. See you in next video.